I'm not going to talk about the plea negotiations and who started it. I think you heard Karen say on the stand that with reluctance she accepted this, and y'all can read between the lines on that. So it's probably the best way to do it.
What do you think what do you think was, I mean, you know, you've obviously worried about any case, but I mean, was it the 10 different witnesses from the 10 different places? What did you think was kind of your star element for that jury that just pushed it over?
I mean, and the rest may disagree with me. I don't think it was any one witness. I mean, yes, the 10 that he made statements to, and the 2 or 3 that he had actually made broader confessions to, that you guys heard from, were important. The co-defendant was important. The corroboration of the co-defendant's statement was very important because they were small pieces. They were small pieces that, you know, couldn't be dreamt up. I think this was truly a case where it took putting all of that together to get the, you know, full picture. I don't know if y'all disagree. I think it was everything.
Well, you look emotional. I mean, can you explain?
Who couldn't be? 6 hard years for her and for Dana and the rest of the family. Her daughter, Holly, and we heard the testimony. She was shown absolutely no grace by these defendants. They had chance and chance to let her live. Absolutely no grace. But at the end of the 6 years, at the end of the Zach Adams story, Holly's family, Karen and Dana, they chose to end this thing with grace. And is emotional, is powerful. I think it's the best end to this terrible thing.
Nobody has ever seen this idea of, I mean, to see you with a hostile U.S. Marshal witness or a TBI agent, this is unprecedented. Even the judge had never, I mean, you had to deal with this misled investigation, and then you said, but this second investigation is on the money. I mean, what was that like, having to kind of like disqualify and yet give credibility at the same time to the same agency?
Well, I came in 3 years ago. So when I came in, the stage was already set. And so it is certainly a very different than the norm, coming in after things have been in place and different agencies have done different things. And I don't think it was, you used the word discrediting an agency. I never felt like it was discrediting an agency, because the agency was working all along. I think that Mr. Hagerman started in opening statement saying about missteps and mistakes, and then Special Agent Booth talked about missteps and misdirection. And then you heard from Jack Van Hooser, who came in with a fresh set of eyes and was able to put his finger on where the missteps were and where to go from there. No question, it was different, because that doesn't usually happen on cross-examination. But I think the jury understood what had happened, and it's pretty clear by their verdict, you know, what they believed. And you saw did you?
I think what got us through that, I mean, like you said, you saw us confront officer, marshal, you know, whatever it is. I think what got us through that is our job in this case, from the second she got involved and from every second we spent on it, is just to do what is right. Just to do what is right. And if that means standing up or asking certain questions or whatever else it is, you just do what's right.
If it meant challenging those who normally might not be challenged, that was part of it in this case. And it meant, because of the 6.5 years, it meant taking an enormous amount of material, just an indescribable amount of material, and figuring out from that what we actually needed make a case to present a case against Zachary Adams, because that was what our job was the last 2 weeks, was the Zachary Adams case.
Can you
If
talk
could
at all
let me
about
just
Jason
follow up on
Autry?
that discovery error, because there were 3 things you said, like in the jury room, that people's mouths dropped open. One was that alibis weren't checked, which, you could hear the gasp in here. That Shane Austin was cleared because he didn't have a car, so of course he couldn't do it. And then the third thing, that there was a prevailing theory that it could only be one person.
Be one
These
person,
things are
yes.
Astounding.
Right,
And
right.
the public is just, what are we supposed to, it's astounding.
It was. And in the end, as astounding as all of those things are, truth prevailed. And the jury, one after the other, resounding guilty on all counts, not a hesitation exhibited on any of their parts. So I say that to be, yes, it was pretty astonishing, but in the end, truth dominated all of that. And the Bobos were able to sit here today and make the decision themselves for the first time in 6.5 years. From when Dana went to work that morning and from when Karen went to work that morning, yesterday is probably the first time they've been in control of their family's destiny, their family's desires and wishes, and what was going to be best for them going forward. And that's probably why she said she saw Dana Bobo smile for the first time. And I'll tell you, I'd never seen him smile. Not one time. I didn't know the man had dimples until yesterday. And I was like, Dana Bobo. So, the jury did that. This is an incredible county. And these people, I think, worked hard the whole time, just paying attention and working through this. Just kudos to them.
Follow up on Dennis's question. Do you feel like you lost a lot of physical evidence that could have been gathered had TBI followed done what they should have done?
I don't want to talk about, the evidence in particular, because we do have, we have 2 more defendants. And, those are different cases against, different individuals that we have to work through. I will say, generally speaking, common sense tells you that if you learn something 6.5 years after the fact, for instance, it's been out there about finding the gun, and I got to say, there were some people digging that you'd be surprised that knew how to hold a shovel, but the point is, you find it sometimes, and sometimes you don't. And so, say that with a general terms, in terms of what we might have lost or whatnot.
Can you talk about Jason Autry at all? He goes from being essentially your star witness, and now you have to turn around and prosecute him. There's got to be.
Yeah, I'm really not going to talk about those that are still pending.
Can you just talk about the process?
The process, yes, it's set in November for a status date, which gives us over a month to get with their attorneys and talk to their attorneys and figure out what the game plan is. A lot of that, of course, depends on them. So.
What worried you? What woke you up in the middle of the night about this case?
Well, what didn't?
You assume we went to sleep?
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. For me, and everybody may have a different opinion. For me, it was what I talked about earlier, just the sheer mountains of material, much of it not relevant, but still collected, much of it important, and trying to come up with the best way to present what happened to the jury. A lot of times that's not a problem. You think about it, most cases you guys cover, you got 10 or 15 witnesses, you got 5 witnesses, 6 witnesses, you put them on and you're done. And this was totally different. This was trying to figure out the different pieces and, dealing with a lot of people that were locked up in different locations and finding them and, following up with them. It was quite a task.
You met with the jurors.
Very briefly, yes.
Talk about that.
I just took the Bobos up there to meet them and thanked them myself, and then left the room. So they
Can you discuss at all what aggregating factors you were prepared to argue in this case to seek the death penalty?
It's filed in the file. When we filed the death notice 2 years ago, it's in there. That's public record.
Any specific ones that you were going to stress more than others?
No, all three of them. I mean, there was three of them, and they're in the file.
When the jurors asked the question, the second question about circumstantial, what was your feeling at that time?
I was fine with it. I really was.
It was a good sign to you?
We'd had another question before then that didn't worry us, and I think in light of the first question, I think we were. I thought their questions were smart questions and thoughtful questions.
What was the first question?
I don't think the judge released it, so you'll have to.
The defense said that they were worried about yesterday when we talked to them. They were worried they had prepared Jack for a guilty plea. Were you guys worried that it would come back the other way?
Always concerned, but I think we all felt like that the witnesses who testified were credible, and most of what every single one of them said was backed up even by something else that was said. So I don't think any of us are ever like quite certain that how something's going to turn out, because that's a pretty bold and brassy place to put yourself in that we don't generally do. But
Never stop worrying.
yeah,
Never.
I think we all felt like that the proof came in because of the sleepless nights that y'all were talking about, came in the way it needed to.
What happens with Mr. Autry now?
And his case is still pending, so we can't talk about it.
Do you think some of your colleagues, your district attorney colleagues around the state, opine that when the question came in about circumstantial, that the juries sometimes are looking for permission to convict because they, even though they know circumstantial, they can rule it, they want to make sure and be told again, yes, emphatically, you can use that to prosecute. Did you take it that way? Because other DAs clicked in and messaged people and said, oh, they're asking permission to convict here. Did you feel, were you buoyed by that?
I wasn't worried about the question. I mean, again, I thought it was a smart question. There was certainly circumstantial proof in this case, and then we had direct evidence, in the form of eyewitnesses who heard and saw things that Zach Adams said and did. So I think from certain aspects, circumstantial evidence, played a part. So I don't know whether I started making that leap to, I don't know, I wasn't following what people were saying, but it didn't scare us. This was a good bunch.
Can you just clarify, since there was an agreement made on the sentencing, does this mean that he cannot appeal his sentence?
No, it does not mean that. It does not mean that. He can appeal his sentence, but but there was an agreement as to what the sentence was.
Was there an effort to compel him to testify as part of the agreement, saying, we're not going to say the death penalty, will you go up there and confess and tell his family what you did, you scoundrel?
I can't say that there was an effort on the part of, yeah.
Because if there was an appeal, you could use all that, right? If he made a statement.
Anything that was said under oath would certainly be admissible in any appeal.
The family didn't need to hear from
Yeah.
him. They didn't need to hear from him. Karen needed to look at him, and she needed to say what she needed to say. She didn't need to hear from him.
And wasn't she graceful and articulate? And I think anybody watched her saw the teacher come out and look at me, look at me, and then can you scoot back so he can see me? I mean, she wasn't missing a beat. I honestly just think we're all so proud of them and the restraint that they've shown and the just good sense through the course of this trial. So it was good for her to get to do that.
What will you guys all do tonight?
Pack.
Sleep?
I don't know. Pretty keyed up right now still. So
We'll be sad to leave Savannah tomorrow.
we'll be back.
They've treated us great.
Oh my goodness, they really have. So anyway, anything else? All right, thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Taking your time.